back to Show Up, Stand Out with me, Visibility That Sells Strategist, Juliette Stapleton. And I have an amazing, amazing guest today. Let me introduce you to someone who can help you become a rock star of your industry and attract more high-paying clients and further increase your income. And this is wonderful, Luana Ribeira. Hi, Luana. Welcome to the show.
Hello, I'm really excited to be here.
I am so excited. Guys, Luana walks her talk. She has been on amazing networks, including BBC and Fox TV and ITV, Channel 5. She was featured in Forbes as one of the top 21 emerging females to watch. That was back in 2018. And she's been helping so many coaches and entrepreneurs, build their visibility through publicity and through writing a book. And I'm so, so excited because we have such a similar message, and yet we're doing slightly different things. So this is a great addition, guys, to you, and a great value. So let me start with like a key question, because you like calling your audience rock stars.
Yes.
Define the rock star. What is the rock star, and what makes someone the rock star in their industry?
Okay, so the reason I use the word rock star is because I'm a huge rock fan myself. And, there's a big difference between somebody who really owns who they are and commands their audience than somebody who can be forgettable. And that's what I see when I think of somebody in business being a rock star, somebody who doesn't pretend to be something that they're not, somebody who fully owns every bit about themselves. They show their vulnerable side, they're open about their mistakes, and they speak from a place of power, and they inspire other people. That's what I mean by rock star.
I love it. I actually grew up being a singer in a band, and I know.
Oh, amazing.
Yes, and I just know that, being a front of a band and someone who delivers that message in terms of, when you sing the lyrics. So the music is one thing, but you're the one in the focal point, and you have a responsibility to make sure that this is an unignorable message, that it makes an impact.
There we go.
Touches the hearts, and
there we go, you get it.
And this is exactly what, like, I personally bring this into the entrepreneurships, and it's funny because what you said is so important. How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself with someone with that responsibility? Because it's not about, look at me, egotistic kind of side that a lot of people shy away. They say, well, I don't like, being drawing attention to myself. But then on the other hand, they also want to leave a legacy, make an impact.
Yes.
And those things, you have to see yourself in that bigger.
Absolutely. And that's what I say to people as well. When people are like, oh, I don't know if I want to be in the spotlight. I say, well, it's not really about you. It's about your people. They're waiting for you. They're there now. And quite often as well, people will say, well, other people are teaching this, or other people are already talking about that. I had this conversation with my 9-year-old this morning, and I'm like, yeah, but they're not you. Like, nobody else has got your exact approach, your exact experience, your outlook. Like, some people will need to hear that message directly from you, not from somebody else.
I think that this is one of the biggest blocks. I've been there. I've been there when I started, and when I started my own visibility journey as a personal brand, as Juliette Stapleton. And I remember being so confused. Like, it was almost like, what do I dare to talk about that nobody will call me up and say, well, you don't know what you're talking about, or maybe you don't have a right because you didn't go to the university about this or that or the other. And I felt so inauthentic, but actually it's really what you just said. It's not about you. So when you are going through these motions and these fears, you're actually sitting in that box and you are cooking in your own, insecurities without thinking what this can do, not just for you, your business, your income, and like you, but actually that it has a bigger mission. So you have a responsibility to explore that further.
That's it. it's your duty. I really, really believe that we've all come into this world with a duty, and some of us have been called to share our message, and so we have to do it. And I'm sure that anybody listening to this right now will know exactly what I mean when I say it's not easy, and we have obstacles that are thrown in our way, but it's our duty to keep going. And do you know what? I can't not, and I know a lot of people resonate with that as well. A lot of things have knocked me off my stride. I've been knocked down more times than I can count, but I always get back up because I can't not. And I've tried not to on many an occasion, believe me, when it's got too hard. But no, if we've got that message, we have to do everything in our power to get that message out there.
I agree. I agree. And I think that that's what separates people who succeed from the rest, because say building your visibility, even writing a book, the barrier to entry these days, like anyone can try. All you need to become visible is a phone. You don't have to even, there's so many people who create this shiny cover, which is important, but they don't have any substance. So they might even make some money, but then they don't deliver. And there's loads of things, or they can't because they don't step into this responsibility fully. However, I think it's a calling. It's not just responsibility that just you understand with your heart, with your mind. It's something that comes from within you, and you are either you have that, and you have that. You might have a lot of limiting beliefs and feeling scared and feeling, but I think you have to tap into that. Do you actually down honestly believe you deserve to be seen? And then try and go through these fears. That's an important thing. I as well, like you said, I've been as well. I had a whole decade where I took a back seat, and I was, not really pushing myself. And that resulted with me almost feeling destroyed. My personality, I felt unfulfilled. It was horrible. And then
I did the same.
On this makes you so negative. And I had to rebuild myself, and it took like 7 years up to now.
I did the same. I just went into this hole where I was just partying, and this voice kept calling me, and I kept pushing it away, but I kept getting this voice saying, you're born for more than this. And I just get me some wine, and I would literally just live for the weekend. My weekends would last sometimes 4 or 5 days, but it was just this cycle of partying, recover, party, recover. And that was a full decade of my life. Just, gone into this hole.
We are all dealing separately, differently with not being able to express ourselves in the right, correct way through the right, correct channels that are aligned with us. So it could be like in your case, because I know it's like a cycle, and you feel something during that time, but then you also realize that that's not it. So it doesn't make you fulfilled. You're kind of caught up in that. In my case, it was a different story. It was me, meeting my other half and just completely like saying, well, now I can relax, because it's like everything before that I felt like I was looking for my other half, and after that I just you drive. But I wasn't born to be in the passenger seat, and I have other things that I wanted to do, and that brought me a feeling like, oh, I can't do these things anymore, because I was afraid, what if I start doing this, then maybe my years of me just being driven everywhere, how is it going to affect my relationships? How is it going to affect my life? And yet I think that when you're really true to yourself, everything aligns. There's no resistance, there's no friction, or it's so small and so short-lived that it aligns with you. And so that's why I'm so I'm just digging the Rockstar word to use for the entrepreneurships. So this is one of the things, and we are talking about this fear of, or not fear, but not being fulfilled. But there's other blocks as well, that people are afraid of judgment. And I mentioned that, with me, it was like, what will my husband say if I start, showing off? Fear of criticism. How can they get past that block, in your experience, in your opinion?
First of all, it's realizing what is actually important, because most of the time, the people who if somebody's scared of judgment and criticism, it's not from the people who they even want to work with. It's normally to do with, family, friends, and everything like that. But the question to ask really is, if somebody loves you and they belong in your life, then they are going to want you to be happy and to succeed. And if they don't, and if they judge you and criticize you for it, then do they deserve that energy?
I love that. I actually love that. There is something, my husband's a wonderful man, but he's very strong opinionated. That's where my came from. But in all fairness, there you can choose, and especially if you're using social media, and I'll just, share, and I do talk about it. Some people in your family, they want you to be safe. So they will criticize
Yes.
what you're doing
Yeah.
because they think you're not going to be safe.
Really good point. Yeah, but that's their fear.
Yeah.
That's their fear. So yeah, so a good thing to do is to speak to them and to figure out exactly what's going on there. And normally it will come from some sort of fear about not wanting you to fail, wanting to keep you safe, unless they are somebody who just doesn't want you to succeed for whatever reason.
Well, it can
But
be
most of the
triggering
time,
them.
if it's exactly, it can be triggering for them because it brings up all of their insecurities. But if it is somebody who genuinely has your best interests at heart, just understand that that's their fear, and be understanding as well, and realize that they're not doing it to, because they want you to fail. They're doing it because they think they're keeping you safe, and that's how their brains have been wired through everything they've ever seen, heard, and experienced. So it's just
Absolutely.
being understanding and just explaining things as well. Like, you were saying about your husband being opinionated, but my partner is very opinionated as well. And he gets absolutely terrified with some of the things that I do. And I just have to say, look, it's okay. This is the worst that can happen. If this happens, this is how I'm going to deal with it. This is the best that can happen. This is why I'm willing to take that risk. So I'm very much, I'll jump in there. I don't think much about things. I'll just do things. I take action based on impulse. He's the opposite. He's very logical. So speaking to him like that works, because then I'm laying out exactly what I'm doing and what can happen either way. And I'm being very open and honest about it as well. I'm not just saying, oh, it's going to be okay. Because, the unknown is the most frightening thing to the human brain. So if we can put that at ease a bit.
Oh, 100%. This is where everything, like all the resistance, everything, criticism, everything happens, everything comes from that. You know what I was thinking while you were talking about, how you can talk these things through. I have two strategies. With some people, you can talk these things through. If those people are not not your husband or someone, very close, but even if it's your, parent or a sibling, and that could be real strong pressure that doesn't need to stop you in your life.
Yeah.
Block button on Facebook really does work, and you can say to them, say, listen, I don't need you to watch what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Get triggered by this, so I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to gently and lovingly block you on Facebook, and don't take it personally.
I've done it. Yeah.
I don't need this opinion. You have to also stand your grounds. And I have a very long block list. That friends, anyone who is like not part of the family, I personally don't even care, because they don't know what our dreams are. They don't
exactly
know intimately what our plan is, and something for them we might make some mistakes, that's okay too. But for them, understanding where we're coming from, this,
no, not everybody will get it, and that's okay. And I've done the same. I've blocked very close family members, and it was really hard at the time, and now it's like, well, it was definitely the best thing, because they were never going to get it, and that's okay. It's just not their thing.
Yes.
And then, of course, there's people are often blocked by judgment and criticism from people who they've never even met. Like, they're worried about trolls, and trolling is something that I've experienced to crazy degrees. I had a gang of trolls even set up like bringing it from online, and even setting up physical events and all sorts in my honor. Like, looking back now, I should have been pleased, but you know, it was absolutely terrifying. But with these people, you know, they've got no claim on your energy. You don't owe them a thing. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to do a thing. Like, if they're really going for it and your reputation's at risk, then stand up for yourself. Don't hide. Stand up for yourself and show evidence. You know, shine light on it instead of hiding from it. I made a
I
mistake to start
agree.
with.
I
I
agree.
hid for a little bit.
I would actually call the names. I'll show and
Yeah,
tell and
yeah.
blame, and I will
Do
show it.
not mess
That's
with me.
social media is brilliant because you can build your visibility, and you know, you can build that following that's really dedicated to you. So some of us are less, we are all, you know, polarizing, I think, because we have strong opinions and strong presences, and some of us are a little bit more controversial, and some of us are not that controversial. I'm very lucky, I think. I don't attract too many. I had a few people who were triggered by me. The moment I see that, and I'm very intuitive, so the moment I see like I feel something's wrong, I just block them. They don't need to see me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they didn't kind of escalate, thank God, into anything. But I did have a few people who were just weird, but like they just acted weird.
Yeah. Oh, they're always going to be around, aren't they?
Yeah, and so I do take screenshots because sometimes, like, you can look at everything through a prism of humor, and I love, you know, I love just to call the, you know, the BS and say it's just silly, it's hilarious. Look at it. It's not, I'm not angry. I'm not going to go and, you know, say something horrible. It's not natural to me to do it, but I will take a screenshot. And this is where my power comes, because then all my following who like me, they will just be, you know, we'll be laughing together. I had a death threat posted on my business page. That was the only that I've ever had, not to kill me, but to kill himself. And a month later, obviously the profile was still active, so it was just somebody trolling. It definitely wasn't, you know, a serious thing, but I still keep it because it's very precious for me. It's my first troll, and you know, I have a screenshot. I occasionally post it on my stories just to remind the world, you know, that because it took guts to write this, I suppose, you know. So, and I think the point that we're trying to make here, guys, is that, you know, don't be hiding or be afraid.
No, never.
There's we have 7 billion people in the world, right? So 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 will go against you, and you know what, they can go away, you can block them, you can stand your grounds, because at the end of the day, you are the one who calls the shot. I always say, my profile, my castle, it's my room. Right? And same with my group, and same with everything. And I don't have to be apologetic and explain to them why am I doing what I'm doing.
Damn right.
Yeah,
because no explanation needed.
And it comes from, in a way, people pleasing, because at the end of the day, if you really, first you need to protect yourself and your energy at all. And when people are incorrect for you, it will affect you on every level. Completely. That's why we get stressed out with wrong environments, wrong work places, wrong, you know, clients, wrong. We take it home, it makes us feel horrible. So your energy, when you protect and you only allow people who are correct for you, and the way to do it is like just block the incorrect ones. Then you see,
totally,
out which one each person is, but you just start, you know, eliminating the ones that are really wrong. And life changes. I'm like a huge testament to that. Life changes. How you feel, you just have this flow. You're much more, even on the days with heavy energy that can affect us, you know, and get you're still flying through it, because these other things that are affecting us. So this is where, and so the message is like, be visible. It's great for you as well.
Exactly. The other thing as well is, like, people hold themselves back because they're scared of judgment, criticism, trolls and everything like that. But do you know what? Once you get yourself to a certain level, that gives you the power. Like in my instance, right, I had this gang of trolls, and they must have been spending all day, every day, sending messages to absolutely everybody in my audience, telling them that I was a scammer because of whatever reason they've conjured up. So I got scared and I hid for a little while, and then I found my fire and I thought, oh, how can I handle this? Went to the national press in the UK, got my story in every national newspaper, and then I wrote an article on it for the Huffington Post. Not moaning, saying, oh, poor me, I'm being trolled, but doing it from a place of power, doing it saying, hey, this is what I've experienced, this is what I'm learning from it, this is the message I have to share with anybody else who's in the same position. So just like that, I was able to clear my name, never heard from them again. And that's it,
Yeah.
So the thing that we're scared of is often the thing that can give us our power.
And this is where publicity comes in, and that's why I love it, because you can create a story, not come up, not like make it up, but you can take your situation and shape it in a form that's very empowering for other people, that is still showing some vulnerability strategically, because you have to show your vulnerable sides to be able to connect to people in your audience, the right ones, and tell them, hey, I've been there. And this is exactly what you've done. And then by the power of publicity, the positioning yourself with your story being, published everywhere, there's nothing else to say. And this is, bullies always respond to strength. So there we go. And that's, I absolutely love it. And well done to you. And this is a very, for me, it's very, very inspiring as well. I want to pivot a little bit and go back to what you do. And I heard something about your impact system, but I think that you are the best person to tell. So what is the impact system?
Okay, so the I in impact stands for the internal work. So, we've already spoken about this a lot, haven't we, where these fears come up and everything like that. So the first step of the impact system is to face your fears, is to work on your mindset, and, do a lot of journaling, meditation, anything you can, really go within and figure out who you are as a person, exactly what your message is, just get clear on everything that you need. So the I is for the internal work. The M is for media. By media, social media, great. And then take it to another level with mainstream media, which builds the trust factor to another level, because all of a sudden it's a third party who's recognizable that's talking about you. So that's the M. P is for publish. Publish a book. If you're an entrepreneur and you haven't done that, just do it. Honestly, it opens up so many doors. And
I promise.
Apart from just being the book, apart from being a book that everybody can read and, find out things about you and a way of calling people in, it also opens up a world of opportunities with media, with speaking, with consulting. It's really good for sales. If you've got somebody on the edge, send them your book, send them a signed copy of your book. Works every time. And the act is very literally for acting. So my background is in acting. I would not be doing the things that I'm doing now without having learning to act. And before I carry on, I would like to clear up a very common misconception around acting. Most people think that actors hide behind a character, or that they're pretending to be somebody that they're not. That is not true. Next time you're watching your favorite film or your favorite actor at work, know that they are not pretending to be that character. They are pulling out that very real version of themselves from deep within their soul. They are drawing out their darkness, their light, whatever it is that they need for that scene, but it's all coming from within them. And so that's what we learn to do through, if we're being the rock star of our industry, we need to learn to pull out the right parts, or the most effective parts of our personality for any given moment. For example, I don't know, on Sunday, I was lying in bed watching Netflix. Well, that was a different side of me that's come on here today. Imagine if it was, I'd probably be talking like this. I'd probably be a bit boring, you know. So we've got to. So before this today, I've pulled out my performer, my outgoing side, because that's what's needed for interviews. So whatever you're doing, it needs a different version of yourself, but they're all very real and very authentic.
I love that you brought this up. This is a conversation I have with my husband because I'm what they call a social chameleon. Naturally, I am very
Yes.
boring, and I am like, I call myself a party pooper because I just want to like chill on the couch somewhere. I don't really want to do anything. I don't really want to talk. I want to watch something. I want to pet a dog, and people don't believe because
I'm the same.
yes, because the interviews, the there's so much. They're like, Juliette, you have so much energy, but this is when I turn that energy on.
Exactly. And then we need to recharge.
Yeah, it's
We
just
turn up the energy, then we need to recharge.
yes.
You know, people expect me to be like some sort of Duracell bunny, and then sometimes when people spend a lot of time with me, they're like, you're a lot quieter than I thought you would be. Like, well, yeah, I need my alone time.
And you know, people like say Tony Robbins or someone with this huge presence, they're not like this all the time at all times. Not at
Exactly.
not at all. And it's a normal thing. And I think that this is weird, but we just don't think about these things. You know, we don't.
No, but it's not being fake or, you know, pretending to be something we're not. It's you know, it's just pulling out a different part of our personality for, you know, for what's most appropriate at that given time, and then amplifying it.
And I absolutely actually love it, because as you were talking about, you know, famous actors, like one of my most favorite female actresses is Jennifer Aniston, because she's so authentic.
I love her.
And she's like this off screen and on screen. And I always say, we will watch anything with her. And
oh yeah, me too.
Was it called The Cake or something? She played a woman with a chronic illness, chronic pain. So it was completely different part, but it was still her. It was completely still her. And I always say, well, you know what, this is the person with different you know, different scenarios, but it's everybody can relate to that, because if you go for a job interview, you're not going to behave exactly the same on that job interview as you do, you know, at home, as you said, watching Netflix, or your neighbor, or, you know, we all play some sort of roles. There are actually not that many people with completely defined identity that they're always the same in every scenario. Majority of us have these open identities that we sort of, you know, adjust to the environment, some more, some less. I personally accept it about myself that I actually don't have an identity, because I like being different things.
Yeah. Fluidity.
Yeah, and this is where you feel, so for example, putting on a little bit of extra show, I am enjoying it like 150%. And this is the time where I do enjoy it. I am being animated, I'm being loud, everything. Then when I'm with my family, I enjoy quiet time. I enjoy like holding hands, and I don't enjoy talking that much, you know, and that's where me at my happiest as well.
Yeah.
And so I think embracing this, because everything is an excuse when you say to someone, you need to be more visible, everything's then the brain, because it's an unknown thing, you haven't experienced it yet, you haven't lived through it yet, so the brain starts throwing all these things as excuses that, oh yeah, that's just a show. Well, kind of not, but you haven't done this, so you don't know, and you're just stopping yourself. So next time when you're, you know, making this kind of statement, think about it. Is it actually true? You yourself have that experience to be expert at it and say that I've lived through it and I know, or are you just saying it so you feel safer? Because that's what we do, and I do that about other things that are like I'm scared, you know. And
oh yes. Oh, we all do it.
It's absolutely normal, and it's good to what I really love about this journey of visibility is because, as you said, you know, it's inner work. You get to know yourself so much. you get to know people or close people around you. Like, why you start analyzing all the time, why is, as we discussed earlier, why is, my husband's trying to keep me safe? What's behind that?
Yeah.
Or why is things certain way? Why am I a certain way? I went through the whole, spectrum of, like, why do I not like messages? Because then I realized, no, actually, I don't hate messages. I was just not comfortable with it. I needed to live through and experience what's the authentic way for me to communicate with people. That was just an unknown thing. So as you start pushing through these fears, you're just experiencing these things, and they become then, okay. So that's why we're the way we are. But we had to go through the motions. We had to go through discovery of every little aspect in our lives, and in our how we deal with things, how we deal with media, how we deal with getting published on online publications. For some people it's like, oh my god, who am I to write an article? Well, you have lifelong set of experiences that other people out there maybe absolutely desperately need to hear, because that one thought that will, or one aha moment while they're reading your article, will change the course of their lives.
Yes, that's it. And we never really know how much of an impact we've actually had. Like, we'll never know. How many times have you read an article or listened to a podcast where you haven't put a comment, where you've been impacted but you haven't written a comment, or you haven't gotten in touch with them? We never know who's going to be listening, and if there's one person who can be impacted, then it's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. And this is great that we're talking about. It's very, very timely for me. I was discussing with my husband over the weekend how far, this journey of visibility made me come when I just look from a side on my brand and my business, and yet my brain doesn't register it because it's still everyday thing for me. So
Yeah.
I am the last one. And I was saying to him, I am the last one to actually appreciate that, I've also been just mentioned in Forbes, and, and I'm saying for some people it's completely unattainable. How did this happen? But my brain refuses to celebrate. It's like, okay, moving on, the next step.
Yes.
And our brains are stopping us from really sometimes soaking in and saying, well, I'm so appreciative of all this effort.
Yeah, it's really important to stop for every now and again, isn't it? And just realize how far we've come. But I'm the same as you as well. It's something I've been working on with my mindset coach, because I'm constantly like, okay, right, I've done that. Right, let's move on. And I was exactly the same. So I'm making an effort now to stop every now and again and to celebrate myself.
It's a really, really good effort. I will share with you guys, and I maybe you heard me mentioning before, in the beginning of 2020, I've discovered the concept of the human design. And it's like a permission to be you, right? So I went and I actually did a strategy with a human design strategist, to look into my chart and to look into these different things that I have. And I'm a big sucker for personality tests. Again, I want to know, why am I certain way? So some things I can accept, some things I can correct, and some things I can embrace, maybe that I'm not really paying attention, but they are my zone of genius. And so with my own chart, what I've discovered is that my brain has this tendency to completely refuse celebration. So I love partying, I love spontaneity, I love all these things, but it's not the actual fact. Like, let's say they say, okay, when you achieve your goal, imagine this celebration. And my brain is saying, well, so what? So, because it's part of me, I stopped worrying about it, and I stopped thinking that it needs to be changed. And this is, again, I'm grateful to this whole visibility personal brand, being all the time in the spotlight and showing up, because that helps you understand who you are and why you do certain things, or look for help and embrace it. And now I'm saying, well, yes, I am like this. I'm going to still do a little dance and song about it, but strategically for my visibility, as a matter of promoting this so other people know, and adding to my brand. But actually, for me personally, I am just saying, I'm so grateful. Now, what's next? Ink. Or it's always what's next? Oprah, but that might be in 10 years time, or maybe next year, who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, you just have to, but it's really, really interesting. But it's so powerful to tap into these things. And even with the media, as you said, media is like, you can be active on social media, but it's not enough if you're not actually tapping into media. Start with guest posting to online publications, then approach your local media, just even in your own.
Do it, yes.
They are.
Oh, this can be so powerful. Do you know, I had an acting school in Leeds and in the UK, and I just went on, to do on the local TV network, just to do a little guest spot, just a little interview. That led to me then getting my own series on the network. And then that led to a whole load of other things. Like one interview can lead on. Media leads to more media.
Yes.
So,
true.
it can be local media is absolutely fantastic to start with.
Brilliant. And it adds this, screenshot of you in the studio. Or not
and it's great fun.
Bring somebody with you to take that sneaky picture. That will give you so much authority, like an element of authority when you usually on your website or anything. People judge us by the covers still. Of course, you have to.
They do.
But if you don't build that, cover of the Rockstar, it's like, again, let's bring it back to rock stars, right? And rock. Okay, some of the rock stars are very egotistic and they're like, look at me. Others actually are not. They're doing what we've described. They're creating the performance. They're putting that side of them, and they're doing it for the message, for something. But they have to have this cover, because if they just look like an ordinary bloke or a girl, who you're just passing in the street, you will never.
They're not going to be noticed. Yeah, exactly. It's one thing to have a message, but if nobody pays attention, then there's no point.
And I don't want to be mean by saying that, but, I grew up and I really liked AHA. If you're kind of like 45 plus, you will probably relate to the Norwegian group AHA. Take On Me, all these kind of things. And then they had another album when they were a bit older. And I loved the singer. I thought he was very mysterious. He was someone like, very magnetic and all that. And then I watched their concert when they were a bit, very much older, kind of recently. And I've realized in between when they were kind of talking to the audience that he's an extremely boring person. He doesn't actually have that kind of personality outside the songs. And I thought to myself exactly what we were discussing. There is the person with two sides. One is the side that is a performer. One is the side that is for the authority, because the music was beautiful. Their lyrics are beautiful. They had the message, and he was perfect at delivering that message in a beautiful voice. He looked very well. And yet on a personal level, if you were just to have a chat, he wasn't someone who would be that engaging. And it's a different side of things again. And so, I just wanted to mention this because we assume a lot of things about visible people.
Yeah.
But really, and that's why, when somebody meets someone famous and they say, yeah, and they're just like ordinary people.
Well, yes.
So it's such a natural thing. I want for you to just tap into, like, where is that rock star that is part of me? And I know where is the best place for you guys to go and join and tap it with Luana, actually. And I'm talking about inside her group, Rockstar of your industry. What is happening inside there? Just so the guys know, and I'll stick the link in the description.
Lots and lots of free trainings, all to do with writing and publishing a book and getting into mainstream media.
That's exactly what we need. Absolutely, 100%. Luana, thank you so much for being such a wonderful and such a dynamic guest today. I loved chatting to you.
Thank you. I've had so much fun. I really appreciate you having me on.
I am delighted. Guys, I will see you next week in another episode of Show Up, Stand Out. And if you have any questions for Luana or me, pop them in the comments and we'll get back and we'll be in touch with you. See you all later. Thank you again, Luana, and goodbye.